Okay, so we are here taking a look at overscoped, and I am joined by Martin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. So, were you the solo developer on this project?
Indeed, as usual. I've
Right.
never actually done a jamming team.
Okay. So can you talk a little bit about your background in game development?
Well, I started a few, or like I guess 8 years ago with Scratch, and that was like how I started. And then 3 years ago I started with Godot. Um, Something about this game, though, this was the second game I took time to voice over in, and because of that, I think it's probably best to for me to be silent while you play, because otherwise there's gonna be two people with the same voice talking at the same time.
Okay, well, I will try to just sort of pause at certain moments so that you can answer
Yeah,
the stream
exactly.
questions. So yeah, let's.
Okay, somebody's here. Hello. I'm afraid there isn't too much to do here. See, this gaming was a real challenge, and with the limited time, I overscoped. You can't escape this place, that is for sure. I didn't even manage to get the jumping working in time. Anyways, if you're here, I guess I could let you make the game. I'm all out of energy, you see, so if you want to get over this sad little hill, you'll have to be the one coding the jumping. So carry on, I'll leave you to it.
Okay, so.
What? Have you never coded with arrows before? Okay, I will explain the programming language I'm using. You drag the green arrows to the right side, and then you press the run script button. I think you'll figure out the rest yourself. I mean, you're the one that's gonna fix this game after all.
Okay, over to the right side.
Exactly. And here we have something that a lot of people struggle with. They try to drag the arrows onto the letters, but it's that is not what you're supposed to do. I think you'll figure it out if you press the run script button first.
Huh, okay. So, okay. So that's gonna push it. I get it now. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So if I do that,
Well done. Let's see
there
if
we
the
go.
jump is working now.
It's
I think you forgot the gravity. I'll fix that quickly. Wait, just hold on. There we go. That's better. Now you'll finally be able to get over that hill.
it's very surreal to have both you talking to me and the game. Like the audio is
Yeah,
indistinguishable for
exactly.
me.
It's a bit it's probably a bit confusing. Yeah.
That's all right. I mean, I think it's going to be a unique experience just for
At
me.
least the subtitles are helping, I think.
Yes. Okay.
Since you are the one making the game now, you should implement some kind of progression. You know, so people want to keep playing the game. Making a door that leads to the next level would be a good fit in my opinion. You're currently stuck in this level anyways, so you're also in need of a door.
Okay. So it's fundamentally a puzzle about like reordering the letters.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it was my take on a
Wait,
coding
the door should be
puzzle.
close
I
by,
was thinking
but
like, okay,
it's
I
locked
need
and
I
it
need a
needs a key.
puzzle that is like coding themed. So then I really got just this image of letters falling, and then it took like 5 minutes, and or not even that, and then I had this basic idea of how you were gonna use arrows to like push them in the right direction and such.
So what was the actual like inspiration behind the game?
It started out as me wanting to. Well, it's this thing with a lot of people said that in the Discord, and uh, many people did that idea as well. But like, oh, it's the roles reversed because you are the developer. The player gets to be the developer. Um, and from there, I had first had this idea of like a branching kind of multiple choice thing, where like, oh, do you want to add jumping, or do you want to add an enemy? And then it would be branching out from there. But that was, well, overscoped, so that was a bit overscoped. So then instead I settled for this more linear kind of thing with the puzzles, to actually
Nice.
get some I guess I could say some solid gameplay and not just walking around and adding things.
Yeah, let me
Let's see if this one
progress
is
to
as
the next
easy.
puzzle. Okay, so
Yeah.
here's the key puzzle. Okay, so the K's got to go over there. The E needs to go over, but not all the way. So I just need to do that.
Well done. Go get the key now.
I'm assuming. Okay.
You are really great at coding things, but a tiny issue has emerged. We are out of assets. The door and the key was the last ones I made before the project went downhill. So, if we're going to continue to add content, you'll have to do the drawing part as well. I hope you got some pixel art skills.
I mean, me personally, yes, I do, but I'd like to see. Oh, that's interesting. Flower.png.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I made a tiny little sprite editor for this game.
That's really impressive. Did you have anything like this before the jam started?
No, not I hadn't done any sprite editor before. But the sprite editor, like to get the basics of it working, like that you could pick a color and draw a little sprite. That only took like half an hour, and then it was another half an hour of polishing it up and like fixing the grid on top of it, and then connecting it so when the texture changed, it changes the flowers in the world. But it didn't take long, so it was super worth it. And I know that when I started on making the editor, I was like, oh no, this is probably something that's gonna take like 3 hours, and then I'm not gonna have any time left over. But I trusted myself, and I felt like, wait, this could actually be pretty easy, because I had an idea of how I would do it, and that worked out really great. So the whole editor is just like 20 lines of code as well. So it was pretty simple.
You say that, but it looks really complex. And then I see, like, do you have like a shader that's making
Yeah, exactly.
the nice?
It's
funny.
just a little offset on the you multiply by time and have a sine curve along with the bottom doesn't have any strength, and then as you go up on the y it gets stronger.
This is hilarious because literally I spent my day on Friday trying to write a shader that did exactly this, just like for my day job. But
if I'm allowed to brag, that shader, I was like, I started working on it, and I was like, is this really worth it? I have a lot of other things I should do, but in the end, that shader only took like 1 minute or so, because I have done similar shaders before. So
right, as opposed to me, who's never written shaders before, so I'm like desperately going back and forth with ChatGPT, being like, hey, how do you write a shader for Game Maker Studio version 1.4? No, that function doesn't work. This is Game Maker Studio 1.4. Yeah. No, that function also doesn't work. It's such a back and forth mess.
Like a struggle.
It's a problem of it being a very
shader
old
language. The shader language that Godot uses is made to be really simple. So everything you really have to write is the thing you actually want it to do. You do not have to write a bunch of boilerplate around it. So
wow. Okay, so like
that flower shader is like 5 lines of code.
That's awesome. So Uni writes, each of those objects has a miniature grid as well, and you color it according to the sprite editor. Yeah, is it like are you saving this out to, I guess, the equivalent of like a render texture, and then that is what's applied to all the sprites in the game?
What it is that the sprite editor itself is actually just a texture, and then it uses very simple math to just like, okay, you have the mouse cursor at this point, so this corresponds to this pixel of the texture, and then it just changes that pixel. Godot has this object type that is an image, and then there's image texture. So you draw the pixel to the image, then you convert it to an image texture, and that is what updates the texture, and then you just set the same texture on all of the objects that are out in the world.
That's so cool. Yeah, I feel like I would be able to do something similar in the original GameMaker language, but weirdly, programs like Unity don't let you get that low level, or at least it's very hard to. So like they don't Unity doesn't give you control of the draw pipeline. So I would be kind of clueless as to how to implement it there.
Yeah, that sounds a lot more difficult than what I had to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is super cool, but I do want to move on just to like actually progress the game.
Absolutely.
These flowers are nice, but something that would be even nicer is a challenge. We need enemies. And since you did so well on the flowers, you get to draw the enemies too. Or mostly since I haven't made a sprite myself. Make them really scary, please.
I love the hesitation in your voice of like you did so nice on the flowers.
Yeah, you did so well on the flowers, so you get to draw the enemies too. Exactly.
All right, let me see if I can redraw the enemies from one of the other games I made.
Yeah, I've seen some people are drawing really nice pixel art, and I saw some person that drew like a character from their game in this game, and it's really fun to see. You can use right click to erase as well, so you don't have to go back and forth. That was like I noticed that when I used the editor, I tried to use right click because that's how I have it set up in Sprite. So I figured I could just as well add it.
Yeah, that's great. I love the ease of access that you've got there. So while I'm just drawing this little guy here, how about we move on to the next question? What was your overall development process like for this game?
Well, so I started with I think I started with just a simple platformer controller, and one thing I really noticed there was I the classic, it can go right, it can go left, it can jump, it has some little bit of the acceleration, but I felt like it felt very unpolished and like not nice to move the character.
Mm.
And I thought it was something about like how the acceleration worked or something, but later when I just tried to add some animations, just this wiggle back and forth, then I noticed that is what was missing. That the animations can go a long way. That the player controller feels better with animations than without. It doesn't even have to be things like acceleration and such.
Yeah, I was just sort of moving the character back and forth on screen to demonstrate that a bit.
Yeah, and and then when I got that simple basics working, then I started on the puzzle, how that was going to work, and then when the puzzle basics was done, I continued with expanding the levels, making a new puzzle, and then I started with the voice acting part of everything.
Nice.
So then I had to, as I said, this was the second game I made with voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
So I had already made like a system for playing voice lines. I remade it from scratch though, because it was I felt like it was just as quick to remake it than to try and go through my old code. Because I anyways had to add support for like subtitles. So the subtitles are stored together with each audio file in like a format with just a new line for each segment and then a little timestamp before each to have the text synced with the audio.
Nice. Sorry to interrupt you for just 1 second, but I just wanted to say, hey, Kubi Boy, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. We are just in the process of... actually, wait, Kubi Boy, Kubi Man? What? I'm a little confused. Is this the Kubi Man I am familiar with, or is it an alias? So we are in the middle of playing overscoped. It's your alt account. Okay, well, welcome to the stream, everybody. We are just in the middle of an interview, checking out overscoped, and we definitely have time for some more interviews if people want to submit their games. If you are interested in participating in an interview, I will make a point of playing everyone whose game is submitted. Hopefully we get to it within the jam rating period. But if not, and you still want to participate, then I'm down to check out your game whenever. So if you like the idea of talking about your game, getting feedback, and having it being shown off the stream, then please feel free to submit your game. But welcome, raiders, and thank you again, Kuviman, for the raid. So yeah, sorry, you were talking about the voice lines and the subtitles, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So after that, this was the second day then, or like so it started on a Friday evening for me, and this was on it was the Saturday evening when I did the voice lines, started with them, and then during the night I couldn't really sleep, so then I like pushed through almost the whole night, and then I created like these door and key puzzles, and after that, the morning after on the Sunday, then I made the sprite editor, because I had that idea and I was holding off on it until I felt like this game is in a good state, so now I can take the time to try this. And as I said, it went really smoothly, and then the rest of the last day went to polish and creating a few more puzzles, mostly that.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
Fixing a few bugs.
It's really impressive that you have this whole like I still can't believe just how little time it took you to implement this.
Yeah, I barely can't believe it.
Right
either.
now, the enemies are very
It really was
well
that it
stationary.
Felt like
You
would
better get
be
working on
fast
that code.
implement, and then it was.
Sorry, I took a step forward and then it started playing subtitles again. Could you just repeat what you said?
Oh yeah. When I started implementing the sprite editor, before I had a pretty clear way of implementing it by using these image and image textures, and it felt like this should be doable in a pretty short time. And then I put like a timer on, and it turned out that it actually did take a short amount of time. It was amazing that I actually were correct about that.
Yeah, it's. I'm really glad that came together. So I'm going to take a step forward and see if I trigger any extra text here. Okay, so here's the puzzle for programming the enemy to work. So we've got to move. Got to move in, over, and then down. We need to move E over here so it drops. And then Y needs to go all the way over. And then I'll just see. Okay, so the M ended up in the wrong spot. Runtime error.
Yeah, exactly. That was something when I created this. I had this goal of putting in a few like programming references and such, because the people that play these YAM entries are a lot of developers as well. So I thought that the audience
watch out.
A big part of the audience would understand those kinds of jokes.
Gotcha. All right, so the enemies move now, but it looks like they don't respawn. Also, I drew it facing a particular direction, and it.
I'm really quite surprised.
Yeah,
how
it doesn't
good
turn.
This game is
That
getting.
was something I was thinking about doing, but at the same time, you can't really know how the players are going to draw the sprite. So it could just as well happen that the enemies start facing the opposite way of where they are going. So I just thought that I'll skip it completely because it works at least 50% of the time then.
Yeah, I've definitely had that problem where like I've worked together with somebody and said like, okay, you draw a sprite and it's got to be facing this direction, and then I'll implement it in the game, and then they send me a sprite where it's not only facing the other direction, that's not a big deal, but the lighting is done so it's facing the other direction. It's like, but all games always face to the right, and then negative scale is to the left. So, okay, so I'm gonna just make a little more progress in the game. As I say that, immediately dying. I think the hitbox on this guy is... Can I just make the hitbox on this guy really smaller? Do they have the same hitbox no matter what?
They have the same hitbox no matter what. Yeah, that's
Okay.
something I've noticed, that just on that ledge the hitbox goes a bit above, so it's a bit off, but oh well.
We're making our way towards another puzzle here.
This could be tricky.
Okay, so another key puzzle. So we'll walk over.
Exactly.
All right. So it looks like the letter Y has got to go all the way over to the other side. K's got to go over and then over again. And then E. Huh, okay.
This one is the puzzle I'm proudest of.
Okay. Oh, I
It
can't
was
stop
also
it.
made in like a jury. It was 4 p.m. while making this. And yeah, that button is a bit broken. You have to press on the rightmost pixel of it for it to work. It's a bit of a weird problem, but it's because of a invisible debug panel that is covering the left part of the button.
Got it. Okay, well, at least... Okay.
Yeah, it's really...
Right there.
Really
Okay,
annoying.
okay. Yeah, this is a tricky one. So... Y's gotta go over... E has to get around this block somehow, but maybe it can go over here instead? And then drop like that. And then K just goes... Oh, but something else has to push K over. It's a tricky one. Okay, well, I'll mess with this puzzle for a bit, but in the meantime, can you talk about what was the most difficult problem that you encountered during the jam, and how did you solve it?
Let's see. I think actually the hardest problem was like getting the idea of the game and where it's really gonna go clear. Because as I said in the beginning, I was thinking of this like branching kind of very, very story-driven game, and I had like spent an hour on just writing in Obsidian to like get a story clear, and like, oh, the narrator is gonna say this at this point, and wow. But in the end, I felt like that wasn't really gonna be that much fun, or like it could work, but the gameplay would be a bit lacking. So then I went to sleep and came back with a much clearer goal of like what the game is really gonna be. And I think actually that was the hardest part. And then the huge amount of stress in the like last 3 hours I felt, because I had to get like a proper ending in, and I had this extra mechanic that I really wanted to make, but in the end I didn't have the time for it. And then it was like the last minute bug squashing, and I still didn't manage to get that button one. I knew about it, and I thought I fixed it. I thought I disabled the debug panel, but in the export it didn't really work out, so that was a real bummer. But like otherwise, it has gone pretty smoothly. I think the thing I got stuck on for the longest time was the like corner effect, or like when you die or take damage, there is this kind of chromatic aberration in the edges of the screen.
Yeah.
And that was like an effect I wanted to make, so I googled for the shader on that, and I stole the shader and was like, but this doesn't really look that nice, because you get this barrel distortion, and like the image gets cropped, and it's really weird. So then I tried to like reverse engineer the shader to get it to do what I wanted, and I spent like 40 minutes on that, and then I gave up and instead kind of wrote my own version of it, with just like calculating the distance to the edges and using that instead, and that worked a lot better, but it still took a
that was a
lot
clever
of time
solution.
to get
Pick
to
up
that
the
point,
key
just
and go
because
through the door.
I tried to do the lens distortion thingy first.
Oh man, it took me so long to solve that one, and then of course it like cut off the last sentence you were saying there. So sorry, could you just repeat that for?
Yeah. No, but so the distortion shader probably was the thing I got stuck on for the longest time, because I tried to reverse engineer someone else's shader when I should have just done it from scratch from the beginning. That would actually have saved time.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Like sometimes you feel like, oh man, this is going to be tricky. Let me see if I can look up what somebody else did on Stack Overflow, or I mean nowadays,
exactly.
Try asking ChatGPT if it can give you some code. And sometimes you can just spend as much time trying to fix it, as was the situation I ran into at work on Friday, versus just writing it from scratch yourself. But anyway, so I'm glad that you did eventually get that working. And then that feature that you didn't get to implement, though, do you want to talk a little bit about what you were hoping to do?
Yeah, sure. So you can actually see it, the lack of the feature in this very level, because now you have gotten that key, and there is this kind of like awkward staircase up to the key.
Mm-hmm.
It was meant that I was gonna have another like version of the sprite editor, where it was gonna be like 8x8 instead of 12x12, and then it's when you drew on that sprite editor, tiles would appear like in the world, so you can like draw a staircase and then walk up the staircase. So in that situation you are now, you would have, instead of just jumping up on that awkward little floating step, you would have like drawn a staircase to be able to get up. And that mechanic would also have been used after the anime puzzle. There's a bit awkward staircase there as well, because that was the like last minute fix.
I can imagine using the pixel art editor as a way of also drawing like tiles for the game itself.
Yeah, exactly. That was what I was talking about.
Okay. I see.
It was gonna work. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So you weren't so much drawing a tile, you weren't so much drawing like a staircase sprite as you were using the sprite editor to do the tile editing for that. That's really cool. So do you have any plans for a post-gen version where you might implement something like that?
Yeah, I have been really motivated by this project, and I think I will as soon as I am done with publishing Mazes and Dices, then I will continue on this and make this a full paid version as well. I have a lot of ideas how to expand the story, especially in a way that would make it be viable for a like 2-3 hour long game. Nice. With like the narrator, the developer, talking about the game that he overscoped and such. So it would be a bit different story than what's in this game, but it would still be very close to this one.
Awesome. And I just wanted to take a second there, since you mentioned Mazes and Dices. This is your planned release date is August 2023. We were talking a bit before the stream on Discord about the next Friday. I will take some time to actually play the game and have you back on and give some feedback on the game, because I remember interviewing you about this game last year, and there being like, I actually want to go back and double check the interview, because I remember there were a few design issues that we were discussing, and I would love to see like how the game has progressed since then, how you've tackled some of those problems. So
I think I think a few of them. I remember one of the problems being like it's very easy to instantly almost die if you lose a few dice, and I think that problem kind of still remains, but it has been fixed a bit recently, actually. But
nice.
We'll talk more about that on Friday then.
Next Friday, yeah. So I hope everyone's looking forward to that. Also, Twerk on my ham, super awesome of you to wishlist the game. Just bear in mind that there is such a thing as empty wishlists on Steam. You don't actually boost someone's rankings in the algorithm unless you actually intend to buy the game. Because if Steam just sees that a bunch of people wishlisted it, but then no one actually buys it, then it doesn't boost your ranking. It's good to have lots of wishlists if you're trying to bring the game to a publisher, because then you can say, hey, look, we've got 30,000 wishlists on Steam. will you give us money to make this game? But I have heard some developers talking about the fact that, like, yeah, they got their game out there and got a bunch of wish lists for it, but then since all those people were just being nice and wishlisting the game, when the game actually released, it didn't actually translate into any of those people actually buying the game, and therefore they didn't get the rank boost they were expecting.
Yeah, it's a really tricky market.
I'm going to take a few more steps in the game and see if I trigger some more audio. No, we're just onto another door puzzle. Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is the last puzzle as well.
Oh, that's almost perfect
this
timing
puzzle is a
then.
bit broken.
Okay.
It has multiple solutions, and it wasn't meant to be that way.
That's okay. Yeah, let's see if I can. That's gonna fall there. That's going to. Oh, I see. Okay, so. Well, let's just try running that and seeing. Okay, so everything.
Did you see the new timer thingy? It makes the letters wait one step before they continue.
That's cool. I did see the timer thingy, but let's see. So door D's got to get over here, but it can theoretically. Let's see. R's got to get all the way to the far side.
That was a great use of the timer.
Okay, so I'm guessing that
there you can see the problem. The timer wasn't used, which is kind of unfortunate because I implemented it. I felt like, oh, I want to have just another mechanic just to show that the potential of more things, and then a lot of people.
So let me be a bit meta here.
Don't even have to
currently
use it
1
because
hour
they
left
found
until Jam, and I just made this victory room. This room was meant to have a lot of fun things, but I don't really have a time for that. So congrats, you win. You made a really nice game. Good job.
So is this actually a meta room, or is there something you can do here?
This is the ending room, but you can draw a little hat for your character, a win hat, so to say. But other than that, there isn't anything more in the game. I wanted to have like this kind of epic story moment where like the narrator said that, oh, you made such a nice game, so now I will make my own games again, or something along the lines of that. But I ran out of time to really make something good with that, so I just made a kind of meta ending with the jam running out and having to. It was Maces and Dices is my game. I made it last year, and I'm publishing it in a month.
Yes, that was from last year's GMTK Jam game. And if I recall, yeah, you got.
It's a lot of fun seeing people recognizing the game. That's one of the reasons I felt like I really had to move forward with the game, because I kind of have a lot of people that actually have already seen it, and I think that helps with like the visibility, or people being like, oh, I remember that one.
Yeah. In fact, I've actually, if you take a look at the queue page, you can click through the different tabs at the bottom, and you can see that there are some other games from the GMTK like top 20 that I did interviews with. So if you just search through, there's over 74 interviews that I did as part of last year's Jam, and same with Ludum Dare 53, 52, and 51. So... And I've done more Jam interviews than this as well, but just these are the most accessible via this current forum. You can also look back through the history of other interviews that I've highlighted on the channel, because I've highlighted most of them. I think I lost some of the interviews from Ludum Dare 49 because I didn't highlight them fast enough. But yeah, there's a lot if you want to dig back and see some of the interviews behind some of the well-known GMTK Jam games. So I just drew a little 10-gallon hat for the victory hat here.
It was amazing hat. Some people have drawn like a long head, just a small little stripe, and then giving more eyes.
Yeah.
I have seen some really creative and good ones in the comments of the game. It's really fun to see actually, when people can make their own things in their game to be able to see what people do.
Yeah. If anyone in chat can guess what I'm drawing before I finish drawing it.
Who needs Pictionary when you have this game? Oh wait, you're drawing. I can see. Yeah, an Among Us. there have been at least 2 people that have drawn an Among Us as the enemy.
Oh, as the enemy. Okay, I was gonna say, like, I wouldn't be surprised if other people also drew it as the as their like winning hat or something. Anyway, that's a lot of fun. Martin, thank you so much for coming on the stream and showing off I Overscoped. And I'm looking forward to next week where we're going to check out Maces and Dices.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see you then.
Is there anything else you'd like to draw people's attention to? Any other social media channels you want to plug?
The only thing would be my Mastodon, actually.
Okay.
If you've heard of that platform.
I've heard of the platform, but feel free to drop a link if you'd like.
I will do that. There I post about the games I'm working on, so mostly Maces and Dices now. I know yesterday I posted about the I had a pathfinding problem where I had this kind of ice ground type which makes the players slide around, and the pathfinding wasn't very happy with that, so I had to fix it.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks again for coming on the stream, and yeah, we'll see you next Friday.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.